Would everyone please rise for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence as we begin to do some pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the meeting will come to order. I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. Before we get into the approval of the agenda, Mr. Carter has an item.
Just like to ask everyone to remember one of our special teachers at Flatwoods Elementary, Mrs. Doreen Daniels, who passed away this past Saturday, and we would like to ask that you keep her family in your thoughts and your prayers. And certainly she's going to be very sadly missed by the school family and certainly her family at Flatwoods Elementary. Thank you.
Okay, the first item of the business is to approve the agenda. Do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And next is to approve the minutes of the April 14th, April 22nd, and April 29th meetings. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next is the recognition part of the agenda. Mr. Carter. First we have FCCLA, Crystal Ely.
Hey, my name is Crystal Ely, and I'm a family consumer science teacher at the Career Center, and I'm also an advisor for FCCLA. This past April, we took 13 kids to Virginia Beach to compete at the conference, and out of those 13, we had 7 of them to win nationals, which nationals is in Washington, D.C. this summer. And I have 5 of those 7 to here tonight with me to speak to you. The other 2 are at tennis game, so or tennis match. So I'm just going to have them come up as they, are, and just show you a little brief description of their presentations that they made at state. Thank you.
At state, we competed in illustrated talk. Our subject was bullying. We chose that subject because bullying is something that affects people's lives every day. We have a friend at school that lost her sister due to being bullied. We saw what she went through, and that made us want to stand up and do something about it. She took her own life at the young age of 13.
We placed second with gold at state and also qualified for nationals. State was such a great experience, and look forward to presenting again and representing Lee's FCCLA and the state of Virginia at nationals in Washington, D.C.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Sand.
And I'm Cody Wolford. And at state, we competed for promote and publicize FCCLA, and we just showed the judges the different things we've done in our area to outreach to the community to promote and publicize our elite FCCLA. We showed them the Frozen event we've done, the No Kid Hungry, Families First, Buckle Up for FCCLA, and just all the safety things we've done, and Families First stuff that we've done to bring families closer together. We got first place with gold, and we qualified to compete at nationals in July in Washington, D.C., and we're excited to compete there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those two are seniors, and it was the first time they had ever competed with me, and they won first place gold, so they were super excited after they left.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Minzer, and I'm a member of Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, also known as FCCLA. You may remember me from last year when I talked about how I was going to nationals with my dress made out of toilet paper. After nationals was over, I wanted to somehow get involved in helping others. With the help of my advisor, I found a project that was perfect. My project is called No Kid Hungry National Outreach Program. Before starting this project, I had never heard of No Kid Hungry, so I did some research. More than 16 million kids in America struggle with hunger every day. 16.2 million Americans live in poverty. That's 1 in 5. That's equal to the entire population of Spain. This program is designed to give food to kids that are going hungry and teach families how to cook affordable meals. It encourages the public to be active in trying to end childhood hunger in America by the end of this year. I helped raise awareness in many ways. One was handing out donor and information cards about No Kid Hungry at the fair. The donor cards were $1 each. Everyone that bought a donor card signed it, and with each card collected, there was a bulletin board made with them. Another way of raising money and awareness was by having bake sales throughout the months of September, November, and December. In December, there was a special sale of hot chocolate. Each cup had something written on them. One said, over 16 million kids in America aren't getting enough to eat. There was a goal at the beginning of the project to raise $1,000. With hard work, dedication, and the help of many, the amount was exceeded. The total that was raised was $1,010. The money was all donated to No Kid Hungry. Half of the earnings stayed in Virginia, and the other half went to the entire national outreach program. Thank you.
As a member of FCCLA, I would personally like to thank Mr. Carter and the school board members for allowing us to come and speak tonight. I'm a senior, and I'm thoroughly going to miss the opportunities the FCCLA has given me. It's been wonderful to see our chapter grow and to be able to get involved in our community like we have. Thank you.
Okay, next is the Virginia School Board Association Art Contest winner, Dr. Brown.
We were going to recognize the elementary student, Abigail Myers, because she wasn't able to make it last month, but I think she's sick tonight, so she's not able to make it tonight. But we'll make sure we get her certificate, but we did want to recognize her because she was the elementary winner for the division, what they would make it last month.
Thank you. Next is KTN drawing cards, Mr. Carter.
We have several students this past month that have had their artwork published in the Kingsport Times News Drawing Card Contest. We actually have a newcomer as far as a school. This month we have a student from Dryden Elementary, Christian Baker, that had his artwork published in the Kingsport Times News Drawing Contest. Elton Knob Elementary again has 8 students. We'd like to recognize those: Walker Baker, Landon Burke, Gracie Dillman, Virgil Hobbs, Kenley Johnson, Cameron Mosley, Eli Sherrick, and Desiree Taylor. So congratulations to all those students and to Miss Willis for a great job, and Miss Markham. I think Miss Markham spearheads that, and we certainly appreciate the job you all do over there for those students getting that artwork published. Thank you.
Okay, next is schools with the highest percentage of attendance, Mr. Carter.
Again, we have a newcomer to first place tonight. Miss Willis at Elton Knob Elementary is in first place, 95.6%. Great. And then Elidale Elementary is a close second at 95.2%. So we want to congratulate those schools and encourage them to keep up the good work.
Okay, next is Teacher of the Year from each school. How you gonna do that?
Since 1964, Virginia has participated in the National Teacher of the Year program. The Virginia Teacher of the Year program honors teachers who represent the best in teaching in the Commonwealth of Virginia and the nation. The program provides school divisions the opportunity to recognize outstanding teachers and to focus positive public attention on education and the teaching profession. The teacher must hold a current, renewable Virginia teaching license and teach in a Virginia public or accredited non-public school in order to be eligible to participate in the Teacher of the Year program. Candidates should be teachers who are exceptionally skilled and dedicated and who are planning to continue in an active teaching status. Teachers should have the respect and admiration of students, parents, and colleagues. They should play an active and meaningful role in their communities as well as in their schools. And tonight we want to take this opportunity to recognize some of Lee County's best, finest, and most effective teachers. So at this time, if the chairman will join me on the floor, we will recognize each of the schools that have chosen the Teacher of the Year from their colleagues, and certainly that's very much of an honor for them to have been selected. So we can congratulate you, and we'll call you up and make a presentation.
I might need to get back.
We're going to start with the schools, with schools, and actually call you up in alphabetical order. So first of all, Dryden Elementary, Dr. Jim Myers. And if you'll remain standing up here as we call your name so we can get pictures. Elton Knob Elementary, Robin Markham. Eagledale Elementary, Jessica Zumbrin. Flatwoods Elementary, Laura Rouse. Head Start, Crystal Willis. Jonesville Middle School, Rosharon Blevins. Lee County Career and Technical Center, Crystal Ely. Lee High School, Joy McKnight. Pennington Middle School, we have co-teachers of the year, Jan Copeland and Jane Haynes. Rose Hill Elementary, Mark Long. St. Charles Elementary, Sheila Mitchell. Thomas Walker High School, Mark Caruso.
Okay, if you'll move in. Come on out here.
Ready to show.
Another one over here. See what I can do. Can't see Mark Long.
I put the short guy in the back.
It really hurt if I'm over top.
I didn't wear my heels.
Move in, Crystal, just squeeze in that corner there. I think that's good. I can see Mr. Carter. Okay, if you want to make it, just stay where you are. You're gonna make the announcement.
Okay, at this time, we will recognize the Division Teacher of the Year. And I might say that since we were a little late in getting that person selected, the plaque and the shirt that we have for being Division Teacher of the Year will be here a little bit later. But Sheila Mitchell is Lee County Teacher of the Year. Congratulations. Mr. Chadwell said he raised her, so.
No, I raised it. Let's get it right. You can take it flat.
Thank you.
Well, she has her flag.
Now listen, I know they can deal
Congratulations.
Okay, next is public expression, and first is Sheriff Parsons, who's here to tell us about the drug kit program he's started with the schools, and also give us an update about the situation.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I talked to Mr. Chadwell about letting you know about this drug test program. It was in the paper and it was publicized, but there's a lot of people don't know about it. I think it's a really good program. I hope we can get the word out a little more. But what it is, the paperwork you have there is HIDA, which is a federal agency that funds through our drug task force. They pay for these drug kits, and they're pretty expensive. They're like a 10-panel kit, and that's a pretty big drug test. I think they're about $60 a piece if you pay for them individually. But parents could come in and use those at no cost whatsoever and test their children. And the only thing is, there's a survey in there. Of course, they can't enforce that, but there's a survey that they ask that you send back. It's anonymous, so that they can keep statistics on what drugs children are using, young people are using. But Mr. Early and Ms. Warner came in and sat with us for 30 minutes, and they had to do a little bit of a training so they can tell the folks about it. They come in and get the test. So we have them at the 2 high schools, and we also have them at our office. And if you folks would be interested, we'd like to put them in the middle schools too, and all to be required is that the middle schools just send some representative, or we'll go to them, do a little 30-minute presentation to them so they'll know what to tell the parents. And it's really a good program, like I said, at no cost. You know, it's a good deterrent. If a kid knows that there's a possibility they're going to be drug tested, then there's certainly going to be a great deterrent there. And of course, all this is anonymous. The tests are done in-house. They take the tests home with them. Nothing's done in the school, and no one knows the results. It's just between the child and the parents. So I think it's a great program, and I hope we can get more publicity out about it to let people know about it. Also, this kind of came to light just recently, and the timing's pretty good on it. Of course, the bomb threats we had back 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I don't know exactly what the timing on it was at Pennington Middle School. We haven't heard much about it, but we've been in contact with the FBI since that occurred. And just a few weeks ago, they did a search warrant in Oklahoma City, recovered a computer that belonged to a 13-year-old boy. And that computer has evidence on it that he was in contact with Pennington Middle School. So that's more like, I'd say there'll be some national publicity come out on that at some point. But the question is how they're going to proceed with that, because there's jurisdictions in Florida, Pennsylvania, Boston, and not all that information is on that. They're talking about maybe prosecuting it all out of Oklahoma City. That way, it's not going all these different jurisdictions. That way it can be tracked there and they can handle it. And but I'll keep you updated on what happens. But even though it's unofficial, the FBI has confirmed that there was Pennington Middle School information there. So no doubt that's the young man that was making the bomb threats. Thank you all for your time.
Okay,
Yes,
just one question here. In your presentation, say a kid tests positive for drugs. In your presentation was what to do if that happens, as far as the school being involved in getting. Is that all left up to the parent?
Left up to the parent, and we could not place any charges, do anything based on that test. And I guess that would be something the parent would have to make a decision if they want to notify the school.
Yeah, I wasn't really going down that road.
But you'd go like
the treatment programs involved for these kids. If they have to miss school and so forth, is that going to be left up to the parents in the individual schools?
I guess you'd have to go over your policy, your district policy on that, and they'd have to have some type
Surely they
of
would
doctor's excuse
to make that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if anyone wants to seek out some type of treatment, I'm sure you folks have resources, and we do too. We'd be glad to provide the parents information.
That's mainly where I was going.
We'd be glad to provide information where they can get some help and some counseling.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else like to speak to the board? Okay, next is reports. First report is annual retirement dinner, Mr. Carter.
The annual retirement dinner for all Lee County Public Schools retired personnel will be held on Thursday, May the 28th, 2015, and it will be held at the community center beside the Lee Theater in Pennington Gap, the same place it was held last year. Dinner will be served at 6 o'clock, and the educators of distinction members will provide a program at 6:30 p.m. So all school board members are invited, and the program will take place at the community center.
The next, advanced ed external review exit report.
We have a letter from Dr. Cheryl Alry, the chairperson of the visiting committee, actually thanking us for hosting the advanced ed external review team and for our hospitality during the time that the team was here, and basically to attending to their needs. She commented that the planning and scheduling helped ensure a smooth visit. As she told the board today that she gave the exit report. We will be receiving the full written report soon, and she basically was very complimentary of her system and saying it was a pleasure to work with us. So we want to thank the visiting team again, and of course you have a copy of the exit report that she presented that day, which is just actually a summary, but the actual report should be in any time.
Okay, next is Lee County Career and Technical School Advisory Council request. Mr. Carter.
At our last budget meeting, Larry Mosley had asked me if I would present information that the Lee County Career and Technical Advisory Council, which he serves on, that they had sent a letter requesting that the state elected officials approve and actually contribute more funding for career and technical education. And he just kind of wanted us to make sure that our board was aware and would certainly support that.
Okay, next is enrollment.
Our enrollment as of April was 3,100 students at the end of April. That's up 2 students from last month and down 82 students from this same period last year.
Financial, Ms. Lambert.
Good evening. This is a summary of our financial activity for the month of April. We received state revenues totaling $2,131,772.77. Federal revenues and reimbursements totaled $112,185.24. Local revenues totaled $11,304.77. And insurance payments received totaled $322,129.77. For total revenues of $2,577,392.55. As of April 30th, we had received 69.28% of our estimated revenues for the year. Our expenditures for the month of April: general fund payroll and accounts payable totaled $2,740,778.02. Title I payroll and accounts payable totaled $138,970.44. Head Start payroll was $85,988.85, and insurance payments totaled $402,957.21, for total expenditures in the month of April of $3,368,694.52. As of April 30th, we had used 66.57% of our appropriations for the year.
Question? Thank you, Ms. Lambert. Okay, moving on to action agenda items. First is the consider approval of Tri-State Chemical janitorial supplies. Mr. Carter.
Tri-State Chemical and Paper has agreed to honor their bid for the school system for janitorial supplies effective July 1 through June 30th, 2016, with no increase in pricing, and I would recommend that the board approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next is consider approval of the Right Pest Elimination Contract renewal.
Right Pest Control has also agreed to extend their pest control services for the 15-16 school year at the current price with no price increase. I would recommend that we continue with Right Pest Control.
Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next is consider approval of the Head Start field trips. Mr. Carter.
We have 2 requests from Head Start for field trips for Bright's Zoo in Limestone, Tennessee on May the 22nd, and for Bays Mountain Park on May the 29th. I would recommend approval.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of name of the baseball and softball field at Thomas Walker High School, the William H. Starnes Sports Complex. Mr. Carter.
We have a letter of request from Mr. Early concerning the baseball and softball field at Thomas Walker. Mr. William Starnes has donated $12,000 to the Thomas Walker High School Baseball Athletic Fund in order to help maintain and improve the baseball and the softball facilities at Thomas Walker High School. He has also agreed to match any fundraising by the baseball team and I'm sure the softball team up to $5,000 this year and every year thereafter, depending upon the economy. In order for this to officially happen, Mr. Early is recommending that the school board recognize the baseball field and the softball field at Thomas Walker High School as a William H. Starnes Sports Complex.
Any questions? Concerns? I'll make the motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, could I just interrupt 1 minute? I think it's important that the sign, since softball isn't included in this, that the sign be on the baseball and the softball, if it's not already up for the softball, so it's on both sides of, so both those fields are designated. We can get that done.
Mr. Chairman, also, I don't think that word complex should be included in that, because included in that is the football field, which is not included in this thing. So you could limit that to the baseball and softball fields.
It was asked that it be recognized as William H. Starnes Sports Complex. So.
Well, the letter says baseball and softball, so does that need to be clear?
The letter does request that the baseball and softball field be named the William H. Starnes Sports Complex. I think that was the intent of Mr. Early, for it to be both those fields and only those fields. Is that correct, Mr. Early, since you're here?
With the sign artist, oh, I'm sorry.
It's up to you all what you feel like you need to do there.
We'll put it in the motion.
Second. Didn't you want to make the motion?
He did.
True, but we're talking about the name on the sign, I guess, and where it's located.
I thought we needed a second for discussion.
We needed a second.
Didn't we?
Yep.
So I'm seconding your motion so we can discuss it.
Okay.
Legally, anyway.
I think you just did.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going by Title IX to do the same thing.
Yeah, boys and girls, right?
Yeah.
I understand.
So I'm just saying softball needs to be
I agree with that.
too.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is consider approval of the request for the use of the facilities at Thomas Walker High School. Mr. Carter.
We have a request from Southwest Legends football team to use the facilities at Thomas Walker High School. Will be again on May the 30th, June the 6th, 13th, and 20th. And the certificate of insurance is on the back of the request.
Okay, do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next is consider approval to amend the local policy LCG05, which was tabled in the April 14th meeting. Mr. Potts.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You have in your policy, your packet rather, you have an amended policy LC-G05 speaking to leaves and absences. This policy was crafted a number of years ago by the board, addresses a number of leaves and absences. We presented about this, discussed it at the May meeting.
the April meeting. We've made some revisions to it, specifically as addressed by the board. I've also gone through and looked at just cleaning up some of the language for clarity, to provide the board with greater flexibility, to ensure the policy is internally consistent, not only with itself, but with other policies of the board, both at the local and state level, and importantly, at the board's request, to strengthen the sick leave policy. Be glad to answer any questions the board members may have.
Mr. Chair, I've got a couple. Mr. Lucas, on page 4.
Yes.
Number 5 and number 8. Those look very, very similar to me. Can you explain really the differences between the two? I mean, word for word, they're not exactly, but it seems like what both of them are saying is the same thing.
Let me look at that just a moment, Ms. Jessie. I think the item number 5 speaks to the reporting for duty rather at any time in connection with the terms of that employee's terms of employment, which could begin at any time during the year. Number 8 speaks to the regular school term, presumably mid-August reporting date for teachers. Probably 5 and 8 could be rewritten to combine those two provisions into one. There are some slight differences. I can envision some situations where you're going to have an employee who is going to be hired in mid-year. Paragraph 5 would speak to that, but we could probably at some point write some language to address both those situations.
I could see that there was some similarity in things, but some.
Probably in drafting it would have been better if I'd added one sentence to number 5 and number 8. But.
The other one is, and I noticed this has been an addition in our policy, that the employees may accumulate up to 90 days of sick leave.
That's correct. The state policy requires that teachers be permitted to accumulate a minimum of 90 days. State policy does not require any minimum accrual bank of sick leave for employees other than teachers. Most of our employer clients are limiting the amount of sick leave that can be accrued. Previously, the school board has not limited the accrual of sick leave.
And I am against that, right offhand. I think we need to remove that statement, because I feel like we are reducing the employees' benefits. We're asking them to do so much more and more with so little incentive. So if that statement stays in, I'll be voting against it.
Any other questions?
Anyone else? Do you have a motion to approve as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I might, if you don't mind, I might call attention to the fact that right now employees, their sick days they can accumulate them unlimited, and this would put a 90-day limit on the number of days that an employee could accumulate. So I don't know if that's an issue, but it does restrict something that is currently not restricted.
And as a matter of law, the board can set whatever cap it would like, or can continue with no cap at all. With respect to teachers, you cannot set a cap below 90.
You cannot set a cap below what?
You could not set a cap below 90 for teachers.
I'll make the motion to approve the policy with the exception or deletion of The employees may accumulate up to 90 days of sick leave.
Okay. Have a motion, have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passed. Thank you, Lucas. Next is to consider approval to renew the insurance coverage for the 2015-2016 school year. Mr. Carter? Ms. Lambert?
100%, I'm gonna back her up.
I request permission to tag him in whenever I need him. I'm on the agenda for the next 4 items, so I may have to tag him a couple of times. We received 3 options for our property and casualty, student accident insurance, and workers' compensation for 2015-16 school year. You should have a copy of this in your packet. If you'll go to the 3rd page over, there is option 1, and the contribution is, for premiums is $400,146. As you know, this has resulted because of our horrible payouts we've had the past couple of years due to the roof and gym floor damages. This policy, or this option 1, will provide actual cash value coverages on all roofs with no maintenance or replacement records since '95, and most of our roofs fall under that category. The actual cash value is the replacement cost minus depreciation, which means we are going to recoup very little from the insurance company if we have a catastrophic roof loss. The deductible on the remaining facets of the property is $1,000, and this option 1 is $166,000 more than what we're currently paying on our insurance. If you'll turn to the next page, option 2 is $21,028 in addition to what we are paying this current year, and this is the option I plugged into the budget we're going to look at in a few minutes. On this option, under property, there will be a $100,000 deductible that will apply to any roof claim, regardless of the cause or resulting damage. The other policy I would bring your attention to is student accident. We would begin having a $250 deductible that parents would be responsible for paying when a child has an incident at school. That contribution for that policy has increased about $10,000. And the total contribution for option 2 is $263,659. If you'll turn to option 3 on the next page, there's only $9,500 between that and option 2. But the big difference here is on the student accident insurance, we'd have a $500 deductible that we would ask of parents before anything is paid out. And that's why we plugged in option 2 for the budget. The total contribution on that option is $254,228. I will do my best to answer any questions if you have them.
I might add that it's our recommendation that you consider option 2, which has a $100,000 deductible on any roof claim regardless of cause or resulting damage. And that is a significant increase from our current policy of $1,000 deductible. But because of, as Denise said, our recent claims with roofs and with gym floors, I don't think our insurance company is going to even begin to look at a policy like we currently have without a significant increase as they provided for in option 1. I did provide the board with a copy of some recommendations that the insurance has asked that we consider, and our maintenance department has those and are working on those. That'll be found right behind them packet with the that's stapled together with the insurance, it's priority recommendations, and this has been provided by Baycorp, our insurance carrier, and we certainly are going to start working on those as quickly as we can to comply with all the recommendations that we feasibly can that they've recommended, and they have indicated to us if we will do that and make sure that we work with them, that they will look at possibly reducing this $100,000 deductible. Not probably not for this coming year, but if we work this coming year to make sure that these recommendations are completed, they will look next year at possibly lowering the $100,000 deductible on the roofs if we follow those recommendations. And certainly we have every intention of trying to do that, to get this deductible lowered back down to close to where it's at now.
Is this what they found when they came in here, these recommendations?
It is.
When they went to the school?
Yes.
And how much more is option 2 now than it was? Could you give us a figure?
21,000.
21,000.
That's with a $100,000 deductible on any roof.
And a $250 deductible for parents on student accident insurance, which they currently do not have.
They do not have deductible at this time.
But option 3 is the only difference between option 2 and option 3 is the deductible that parents would pay on a student accident, and option 3 is a $500 deductible that parents would have to pay. And we feel like for the difference, I mean, we feel like it's worth us to go ahead and go with option 2 to make that a $250 deductible, because that's, if a parent doesn't have insurance, that's a significant amount for them to pay anyway.
Do you remember the number of student claims we had? I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, I don't.
It was several.
It was several,
Yes.
yes, but I do not have that.
And this year, that has been a concern, Mr. Twigg, for our insurance companies, the number of student accidents.
I remember discussing that at the budget meeting. I just was just wanting to let all the board members know that it was a very high amount.
Right.
More than you would expect.
It was, and I think part of that stems from where we live, because we're not in a place where we have a lot of people who are insured, and we're hoping that the Affordable Care Act will help with that, since everybody's supposed to be insured. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe that will provide us some relief with the student accident insurance.
But option 2 is what we have in the budget, and that would be our recommendation that the board approve option 2.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, next is consider approval of the 2015-2016 health insurance plan. Ms. Lambert.
Okay, we finally received our renewal information from Anthem, and here's what our situation looks like for 2015-16. Our renewal came in at $5,064,791. Our rates, this is what's contributed by the employees for the premiums. We increased that, or asked our consultant to increase those premiums by $10 per month, and that gave us income toward the renewal of $4,244,148, which leaves us a projected shortfall of $820,643. The savings we have looked at for 2015-16. Increasing the ER and outpatient copay to $200, it's currently $100, would give us savings of $14,526. We would remain with the Key Care 20 plan, but our out-of-pocket increases from $2,000, $4,000 to $3,500, $7,000, and this does now include pharmaceuticals. That's a savings of $125,893. We would have $150,000 specific stop loss, gives us savings of $33,894. And if we go with the pharmaceutical plan of $1540.75, 20% copay on the tier 3 and 4, and $150 deductible. That will give a savings of $188,840 for total savings of $363,154. That reduces our shortfall to $457,489. Last week, the employees were polled on if they were willing to give up the Delta Dental that's included with the Anthem in lieu of a much higher increase in premiums, and a majority of the employees did. So that would save us an additional $167,948, bringing our shortfall to $289,541. Did I omit anything? Leave anything out?
The only thing I can think of is on the $150 deductible on prescription plan. The $150 deductible only applies to tier 2, 3, and 4 drugs. It would not apply to generics. So, but other than that, I don't know of anything else you left out. You did actually a superb job covering it. It's just that last year we had about a $200,000 hit to our insurance fund. We're looking at a projected $300,000 this year to our fund, and they are projecting next year to be about $800,000, and that's why we certainly can't continue to go down the path that we're on. We've got to try to bring our premiums back in line, our contributions to the fund back in line with what the cost is. Of course, we've had this past year 3 really large claims that hit the fund pretty hard. But of course, that's the purpose of insurance. That's why we carry it for those folks who need it.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question here? I want to ask you again about the dental plan.
Yes.
The dental plan, if we approve it that way, is dropped, right? But they have the option, do they, to pick it up individually?
Yes, they have the option to pick it up individually, but not.
Not through Anthem.
No, not through Anthem.
The reason I say that is I had several teachers call me, and I hate to say it this way, but it was the blind leading the blind almost on that. But so many of them wanted to plan, but felt like that was excessive amount of money for what they could possibly save. So they do have the option to buy that, correct?
Not through
Anthem.
Not through Anthem?
They will not have
Okay.
that option.
Okay, they can't put it on the group plan. That's
Right,
what it is.
that's right. They would go out for it as an individual.
Okay.
Which would be, Mr. Chairman, yeah. But that would revert back to what we had prior to Delta Dental becoming part of the health insurance.
That's right. That's right. We could purchase that policy as individuals, and we did have a payroll deduction for it, but it was not a part of Anthem.
Anyone else? Any more comments, Mrs. Lambert? Okay. Okay, do you have a motion to approve the health insurance plan for the next year?
Hesitantly, I move that we approve the health insurance plan with the removal of Delta Dental.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of proposed 2015-2016 school budget. Ms. Lambert?
Right. In your packet, you have a copy of the budget proposal for 2015-16. I'll just go over a few highlights of it and take questions after that. This budget is based on a projected ADM of 3,067 students, which is the state's projection, and unfortunately close to what Mr. Miles has projected here for our enrollment for next year. is a decrease from 3,180 that this year's budget was built on. Our state revenues have decreased by $585,000, which also reduces the local match by $161,797. On the second page of the revenues, under federal revenues, I just want to point out a new line item we have, which is E-rate Category 2 equipment. This is an opportunity we have to improve a lot of our infrastructure for technology. We will receive an 80% reimbursement on what we spend in this project, so it's sort of an offer too good to refuse, but it's not the best budget year to have to plug that expenditure in. However, it's use it or you don't get an opportunity to pick it back up in the future. Down just a few lines above the bottom, our required local effort based on state funds is $4,878,669, which is a decrease of almost $162,000 over the current budget. We are requesting funding above that in the amount of $1,460,257 for total funding requests from the governing body of $6,338,926. This brings our total budget to $40,426,963. The next page is your expenditures, the first page. Salaries are calculated to give a 1.5% raise as it was supposed to be funded by the General Assembly. That did raise the FICA and VRS slightly, and we did plug in an increase in what the board pays toward insurance. That is a $130,000 increase. Expenditures, page 2, we plugged in the option 2 insurance, which is an increase of $21,028 over the current year. We have 2 buses planned, and this year we only had 1 in the budget, which increased at $96,066. And on the expenditure side, the E-rate Category 2 equipment is $485,700. That is a total expenditure of $40,426,963. The other pages after the budget is a printout of the state budget showing what our ADM is projected for 2016 and the funds based on that ADM. And the final piece of that packet is the superintendent's memo related to funds permitted to be carried forward from fiscal year 2015 to 2016, so that if we are good stewards of our money and our locality agrees to reappropriate those funds, we could carry over any remaining funds at year end as long as the locality has met their requirement. And that's all I have.
Questions?
A couple, Mr. Chair. Denise, on the VRS contribution.
Yes.
Well, I know when salaries go up, of course, that would go up, but didn't the General Assembly approve some money to go toward the VRS so that the rate would kind of go down a little bit?
The rate did go down slightly. Very slightly.
And the second, on the second page there, under, with the telecommunications,
Yes.
a lot of that was the E-rate. With the other category with E-rate, will that cause any adjustment in that?
No. Sorry.
Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the school budget 2015-2016 school year?
Make a motion.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Whalen. You're still up. Consider approval of payment of the bills.
I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any on bills.
Do you have a motion to pay the bills? I'll make that motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the bills.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whalen. Next is reports and recommendations of the board. Mr. Williams.
Yes, I have two things. One, I've been asked by the town of Pennington, the road took much of took all of the baseball field at Pennington Middle School, some of the other area there, and also took a portion of the football field. And they have some plans underway that they've been working on, and I'm talking about the town when I say this, as to upgrade those facilities out there, which they've already done a lot. They fill some in and so forth. And there is a building that is sitting there that was a driver ed building that has been a pain for the school back when it was a high school there. It would never allow them to put seats on that side of the stadium there. And the building is pretty well, the roof is pretty well rotted off, and it's used for nothing right now, except they've got a few pads in there, I think, for the football team that could be moved pretty easily. And the town is wanting to upgrade and put some bathrooms out there and so forth for the Little League football. Some of the athletic teams play out there. Soccer is going to be out there and is out there. And they need bathrooms because they have nowhere out there to go. All I'm asking for tonight is, and I know Mr. Harbour he can check anything that I've said wrong here. I know he's aware of it. But they want to tear that building down. And I certainly would be in favor for it and get it out of that place. And if they did, they could expand that field a little bit and use it for several things that they could not now. And I think that this would be no expenditure to the Lee County School Board or anything, but it is on the school board property there. Did I say anything wrong?
No, you're good.
And tonight, I'd like to make a motion that we do that.
I'll certainly second that. Mr. Glass has said that he would take that building down for us, and unless he runs into asbestos problems, which he doesn't think he will. Like I say, there'd be nothing on us.
It was built for driver education, by the way, and used 1 year.
Anything else, Mr. Williams?
No.
Okay, that's not on the agenda, but we can go ahead and approve that if everybody's in favor of it.
We need to amend the agenda.
As long as you have a motion to waive the rules.
Okay, do we have a motion to waive the rules?
It's a unanimous vote.
So motion second. Okay, now. Does anyone object to,
I second that motion to waive the rule.
okay. Motion, have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we have a motion to tear the building down. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Do you have anything, Mr. Harper?
I do. I'd like to thank everybody that worked on the budget for all the hours spent and the time spent and so forth. I appreciate every bit of effort that went into that. Both Denise, Mr. Carter, and the budget committee, and certainly Larry and Dane and
Mr. Baker.
Mr. Baker. So.
Mr. Chappell, excuse me. I said I had two things, and I don't.
You forgot to say.
No, I know what I'm doing. I wish that we could do something. I'm serving on this board now, going on the 4th year. Every time that we are putting a percentage raise, in my opinion, we're hurting Lee County and everybody else. These poor old secretaries and these 12-month secretaries and these custodians are getting further and further out of the realm. Every one of us knows that, and individually I've probably talked to everybody, and every one of them would like to do something, but we never seem to get around to doing anything for it. I would like to know if it's possible for us to adopt something or other and send to our state asking them if we couldn't figure a way to get straight across the board raises. Because I just hate to vote when I know that the ones who make the most money are getting the biggest raises. And we're leaving, it's bad to me when a person is working 12 months a year and doing the hardest work there is in school, and some of them making less than $20,000. So I'd like to know if there's something that we could do as far as adopting something and sending it to our state representatives and so forth when they hand these raises down for our budgets or something. And if not that, is there a way that we could find any money that we could find and give them another boost in their, change that salary scale for that and catch them up just a little bit? I'm for the little man is what I'm trying to say, and as long as we continue with giving percentages, it's going to get worse and worse, and the difference. Thank you.
Jesse.
I'd like to express my sympathy to the family of Doreen Daniels. Also, I'd like to express my appreciation to all of those who were involved in the advanced ed review, and also appreciation and thanks to our teachers, since last week was Teacher Appreciation Week. I wish there were more that we could give you besides words of thanks. I'll find a $100,000 bar and give that to you. Just a question, since it has been in the news in a neighboring county about serving old meat to our students. Do we have a process in place that nothing like that happens here?
We do have, yes. Our stock is rotated, and we do keep close tabs on that. So I honestly don't believe that will ever be a problem here.
Okay, good. I would like to congratulate the Teachers of the Year at the schools, and also a suggestion that the 2 to 3 minute presentation that each of the schools did for advanced ed be shown as part of our school board meeting.
I know you mentioned that, and we can do that. We'll just, actually, what we're planning on doing is getting that presentation back together and actually recording it, putting it on, placing it on our website. So we can ask each school to come take turns and do that. We did I did a overview of the division, and I guess it was probably the longest, but we could start with the schools. They're certainly very short, the division overview, and
I've heard they're very good.
They are very good.
I think we need to publicize that.
They are very good, and we do plan on placing that on our website once we get it recorded, yes.
And finally, I wish the students well as they begin to get involved in their upcoming SOL tests. Thank you.
Mr. Twin.
Are you ready for this? Okay, well, I'd like, first of all, congratulate those FCCLA students and their sponsor for all their hard work and all their accomplishments. And I'd like to reiterate what Debbie said about the Teacher of the Year from each school, and congratulate them and our county representative or county Teacher of the Year. I think I think all the teachers do a great job, and I'm really pleased with that. I'd also, I think I would like to say what reiterate on what Mr. Williams said about the secretaries and things. I think we did make some provisions in the budget. Am I correct? given the lower, salaried employees, a
Flat
raise.
amount rather than a percentage.
Huh?
We looked at the option of giving flat
A
amounts
flat rate
instead
rather
of
than a
percentages.
percentage. And I think it's a pretty significant amount, I think, overall. The best we could do with what the budget's providing. So we did look at that, Mr. Williams, so I think that'll please you. Also, I want to bring up something. Like you said, this is just a recommendation of the board. This is nothing that, of course, we have to do. But I would like to look at maybe a 4 or 5 year plan, and I wish the board would really think about this. I think we need to apply for money through the Army Corps of Engineers, rural development grants, and anybody available to get money, because as you've known, for this past several years, our enrollment is decreasing. And the problem with that is we're having to keep the same number of students at each school, and I know that's difficult. But my recommendation to the board and to the Board of Supervisors and to the county, although I probably won't be here to, help with it much, but I think in the long run we need to make Pennington Middle School and Elementary, Jonesville Middle School and Elementary, try to get some grant money together and build a new middle school, and just have four schools just in the county. And I think that way we could absorb a lot of positions that would meet the needs of our county. And believe me, I hate closing schools, but at the same time, I think we're in a position where we need to really look at that countywide. I think it'll save us money in the long run. And I just hope the board would consider, some of these things, looking into some of these grants. It was mentioned to me that we might be able to get a lot of funding through the Army Corps of Engineers because St. Charles Elementary is still in a floodplain. So, but that's just something to look down the road. And on top of that, our newest school in the county is Lee High School, and it's showing some wear and tear. And if it's showing some wear and tear, you can imagine what's going on in some of these schools that are 50 and 60 years old. And like I said, it's just a recommendation. It's not something that we're going to act on, I'm not sure, this year. But I think we need to maybe have a 4 or 5 year plan to make some changes in our buildings throughout the county. And one other thing, I would like to thank all the Board of Supervisors and Denise and Mr. Carter. The budget is very tight. Again, it seems like it gets worse every year. And it's a lot of hard work, and I appreciate all the time and effort they put into it. And I appreciate the Board of Supervisors listening to our concerns and also their input. And I hope we have a good resolution to our upcoming budget. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Twigg. Mr. Harper, will you read us into executive session?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to consider Personnel Section 2.2-3711A1, Contract Matters Section 2.2-3711A6, and pending and threatened litigation Section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia.
Got a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?